Greetings, salutations, felicitations, aloha, howdy.
May the force be with you.
May the force be with you. It's Chris talking to you from the studios at WFC3. And yet again, it's another edition of Monkey Business. Hanging out with me, as always, the legend, Billy DeTore.
Oh, me? Okay.
Yeah. Oh, you.
Hi.
We couldn't do it without him.
No, seriously, we would be completely lost in the woods.
I have no skills in this whatsoever.
And that's Tanya admitting she has no skills,
Nope.
which is great because she's one of the executive directors.
Yeah.
And then we also have with us Tony, Wayne,
Hello.
Brian,
Hello.
Becca.
I swear.
Yeah, I swear. She's going to hurt me for that one.
She looks so professional looking
She's
back there.
hanging out in the production studio, looking out through the window, going, "Hey, look, I know what I'm doing." And
Homework. That's what
and
she's
on the
doing.
phone with us, Deanna and Sybil.
Hello.
All right.
Oh, there was the hi.
Hi. So we've talked about 1,000 different things over the past, and there have been a couple of podcasts where we've talked about 1,000 things in the 1/2 hour. But today, what we're going to do is we're going to kind of do a little armchair quarterbacking. I think we've all over the Christmas break, we all kind of had our own reactions to the passing of Carrie Fisher, and what she meant to people on a social level, on an entertainment level, on a franchise level, as just generally as a human being. So we said goodbye to Carrie Fisher, and then the very next day, her mother, Debbie Reynolds, who was a titan in the industry herself. So that was huge, and that was an interesting bow on the package. That was, as Billy has coined it, the 2016 Exodus. It was pretty brutal, but now here we go. As geeks, a couple of weeks later, we're looking back, and how is this going to affect the Star Wars franchise? It's a huge piece of the puzzle, Princess Leia. It's a huge piece of the puzzle, and the reports have all been publicized at this point. They're all out there. She had completed all of her primary filming for Episode 8, but now they were also admitting it was building up to she was going to have a very substantial part in Episode 9.
Because basically, my thought is she's going to redeem.
She's going to redeem Kylo Ren. She's going to bring Kylo back to Ben.
That's how it has to be.
They were also planning on her daughter was going to take Carrie Fisher's daughter,
Billie Lourdes.
was going to start getting a larger role in the Star Wars universe.
Okay.
They actually had it so that they introduced her in Force Awakens as one of the people behind
You see her in the
scenes.
background, yeah.
In Episode 8, she's going to be getting a larger part, and
Okay.
what I think will happen is she'll wind up being the one who redeems
Kylo.
Kylo.
Now
Okay.
she will be.
Well,
Yeah.
and that's it's an aspect I didn't even consider. Just within the past 24 hours, we've seen the reports. They have made it very clear they are not going to do a CGI resurrection like they did with Peter Cushing's Governor Tarkin in Rogue One, which, that's good. That takes part of it. But now you have two things that, you can do it. And honestly, in my personal opinion, LucasFilm is in a complete no-win situation right now, because anything they do is somebody's going to hate it, and a lot of people are going to be unhappy with it. So I feel bad. I really do. The writers of Episode 9 are really up against a wall. Mm-hmm. Do you write Princess Leia out, or General Organa, and however you want to remember her? Do you write her out, kill her off screen, or just minimize her role completely, even though you were building up to having this big thing? Or do you recast the part?
Okay, I'm going to jump right in.
Oh,
God, no.
Oh. Go
I'm
ahead,
jumping
Deanna.
right in. Do not recast it.
Well, here's the thing. Carrie Fisher made the part her own and is iconic because of that. But is the actress bigger than the character? Is the character so important to the story that you can't risk losing it in any way, shape, or form?
I think you can't recast it. It's so... People, when you mentioned Carrie Fisher died, what's the first thing people thought of?
Oh, I know. It's immediately what you're thinking about.
You didn't think of John
Blues
Belushi's
Brothers.
fiancée in Blues Brothers. You didn't think of Marie from When Harry Met Sally, or that she wrote Postcards from the Edge.
Mm-hmm.
You immediately went to Princess Leia.
Mm-hmm.
So it's safe to say that they went hand in hand together. So I think if you try to put a new face on that, it's going to be a 50-50 split. 50% of the audience is going to be like, what are you doing? And 50% is going to be, okay. I thought about this, and I honestly have been thinking about it ever since she passed. I almost think you need to write her out. You just you get rid of her off screen. She had an accident. You actually kill the character.
Ooh, okay.
Because you can't bring it back.
Remind me never to be important to you. Holy mackerel.
But it's kind of like Han Solo. If the rumor is that Kylo Ren, Ben, is going to be redeemed, going back to the books that I read that Timothy's on, there's always been this...
Heir to the Empire trilogy, okay.
Right. Luke and Leia and Han supposedly had twins.
Mm-hmm.
Would it be possible that you know Billy Lord becomes that twin?
Well,
and that character is the one that redeems him. His sister redeems him.
Disney has done. We're not using anything from the. We're making our own universe now, so it doesn't matter what happened from before. Because we've had.
But what if they draw some inspiration
at
least?
They have been drawing from the extended universe. They brought back Boba Fett from the Sarlacc pit, which happened in the EU and has now happened in canon.
In the animated.
Yeah.
But still, they're canoning that.
Yeah.
Billy, what do you think?
It's funny. I've gone through both. I think it'd be interesting if they did recast her. I mean, it's just been a thing that they've done over the years for many characters, for many legendary characters. But
Spock.
Yeah.
But and then I'm going to disagree with you, D. Because it's obvious what my stance is. I think that because the character is just so huge and important to the story, it may behoove you. I mean, think of it. Think of the Harry Potter effect. You had Richard Harris play Dumbledore for the first 2 movies, pass away, be replaced by Michael Gambon, and carried it all the way to the end. Now, admittedly, Dumbledore in the cultural phenomenon of entertainment is not as huge of a character as Princess Leia, but still. It's an important character,
and important to the character.
Yeah, the character's bigger. The character is bigger than the actor who played it. So,
but like I said, it's a 50-50 split. 50% of the people are going to be okay, and 50% are going to be like it's sacrilege. I know. Right now, that's what I'm thinking.
Oh, absolutely.
Depending on who they cast, if they do recast it, okay, I can see that. I think it's the unknown that is in the forefront right now, which is why I'm saying what I'm saying. I'm going to go on the fact that they're not going to touch it, and they're going to kind of rewrite everything. But they might decide, you know what, this is a chance to do something different and change the course of the future of the franchise.
I'm going to follow through on this tangent. I'm going to go to something that Tony had said, and then I'm going to have a simple question to ask. So here's let me just follow the tangent that I'm lining up on right now, because my theory is. Again, I've said it a couple of times already. The character is bigger than the actor who played her. All right, and not to diminish Carrie Fisher's role in any way, shape, or form. So if anybody thinks I'm slamming Carrie Fisher, please get that thought out of your head right now. But if we were to follow the route that I'm thinking, recast. Who? Tanya?
My initial thought was Natalie Portman.
Okay.
She's too young.
And Hollywood makeup cannot make her look older.
Now, are we looking at Leia
as General
Organa?
So following up Force Awakens.
Yeah, so somebody who can take the Skywalker saga to the end, somebody who could play Leia in her current age,
so
current form.
You're only talking one movie then.
Yeah,
yes,
one
we're
movie.
only talking
That's it.
episode 9.
Somebody help us get to the end of the Skywalker saga, because Disney's made it very clear that once episode 9 is done, the Skywalker story is over. Anything else that comes after that is the anthology stuff of, throwing the Han Solo origin
Yoda.
Stories, stuff that happens after the saga. They're going to do anthology movies at that point where some of these established characters may pop up, but this is the Skywalker saga is going to be the 9 movies and done. So we need one person to get us to the finish line.
And the only reason why I say Natalie Portman is because she was Leia's mother.
Okay.
So there is the genetics that, don't give me that look, Wayne, that you can manipulate.
I also think
it
with better writing, Natalie Portman might have an opportunity for redemption here because
better than the original things.
Padme was an awful character, but a great actress
with Black Swan and things like that. And I think,
but it was the writing that
it was the writing that killed her. So having the writing now. And she's not playing it opposite Hayden Christensen, so therefore...
Thank God nobody is right now. He's kind of going low on the radar.
I thought we were not going to have any more awful CGI characters.
Well, no, we'll get to that in a minute, because I want to talk about Tarkin.
I'm making a joke that
that could possibly be that, or someone that is strong enough, like talking earlier this week, like someone like Gina Davis or someone that's got that big presence that can...
someone about 60 years old, a Susan Sarandon, a Meryl Streep, someone with
that. I don't know. Meryl Streep's so overrated, though, I thought.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah. But no, I mean...
I don't think Meryl Streep would have the right presence for the role.
No.
Okay.
I'm saying
someone
that
even
there's
Helen
plenty
Mirren.
of... Someone... Mary Steenburgen.
Helen Mirren.
Mary Steenburgen. Mary
yes.
Steenburgen's a good selection. That's a good idea. I didn't even think of that one. She's got the right look, too.
Time.
Yeah. So Mary Steenburgen, Gina Davis,
Lucy Lawless.
Holy Christ! That would definitely. You'd see Leah going into battle on that one. Sybil, what do you think? Do you have any ideas on this topic?
I actually didn't even think of them ever replacing her, so it's kind of hard to even think of an actress who could do it. But, I kind of agree with Tanya. Natalie Portman could do it. She is a great actress when she's given the correct material.
Right.
And they can definitely do makeup to do that. I mean, think of what they did with Looper, with Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Bruce Willis. They made him look like Bruce Willis as a younger character. So they can totally make Natalie Portman even, look more like Leia.
Yeah, I mean,
think about Benjamin Button and Brad Pitt. How
there you go.
To do that.
There you go. Becca, who do you think? Got any ideas?
Not really for the current Leia they're showing, but I've seen speculation about a younger Leia being played by Millie Brown, who was 11 in Stranger Things.
Oh, right, Millie Bobby Brown, which is a name that I want to say 5 times fast, and I know I'm going to trip over. But yeah, that's as a younger Leia.
Yeah,
that would be cool. I could see that definitely. And then Tony had made mention of an increase of visibility for Billie Lourdes, Carrie Fisher's daughter. So go ahead and work on that one a little bit more.
For me, I cannot see anyone replacing Carrie Fisher's Princess Leia. I think the way they should go with it is they should send Leia off on some sort of mission. They're going to have to do some sort of CGI to kill her, and I think they should give her an epic death scene.
Okay.
What I think will happen is she'll tell her daughter's character, "Hey, until I get back, you're in charge." She goes off. Boom, she's dead.
Okay.
And that leaves her in charge.
Finally, fans are just going to have to understand that, like I said at the beginning, it's no-win situation here. I'm being handed some new information. Breaking news.
No, not breaking news.
Oh, why are you doing this to me, Brian? Why are you doing this to me?
You're asking for suggestions. Be the right age.
Well, she also passed away 3 years ago.
Did she? Oh,
yeah.
Is that Sarah?
That's Sarah Jane Smith, Elizabeth Sladen.
Oh yeah, Elizabeth Sladen.
Brian's hitting me in the feels at the moment. Yeah, because as the rabid Doctor Who fan.
Then you got to get Lala Ward.
Yeah. See, there you go. As the second row runner, right? Okay, but this is not a Doctor Who chat, man. You really you caught me on that one, you bastard. All right, so anyway,
I just had
I'm gonna cry. Anyway,
pop into my head. What about a Jamie Lee Curtis?
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, you know what?
Now that I think she's done, but I could see it. Possibly.
I don't think it should be someone famous. Now that I think about it.
One of the great things about Star Wars is they pulled from the ether from character actors that were not known.
If you do wind up with one of the names that I mentioned, a Meryl Streep or a Susan Sarandon or anybody that's already known, all you're going to think is it's
not Carrie Fisher,
that famous person. If it's someone unknown, maybe you get sucked back into the character.
Why don't they do like they do in the soap operas, where it's like accident, bandages. Take the bandages off, different person. That happened
because
to
they
Luke.
have a bacta tank, which everything regenerates automatically.
No, Luke, when he got the ice creature that beat him up after he got in an accident with the Corvette Summer.
Right, you're right.
Oh, right, yeah, his scarring on his face.
Yeah.
But it was still Luke. He still had the same
Mark
facial
Hamill.
structure as Mark Hamill because he was Mark Hamill.
With some scars.
They just came up with an in-universe thing where he actually that's how he got his scars.
They had to fix it.
So it's a tough one. It's a tough one.
It's going to be really hard.
It's going to be hard. It's going to be interesting to see how they handle it. And like I said, it's a no-win situation for them. I don't think there's going to be anybody who's thoroughly satisfied with their solution.
I like the idea of a nobody.
Of just a nobody,
nobody's heard of because you have no expectations of them. You don't have any preconceived notions of them. So if you're going to recast it,
a nobody,
I would say go that way.
Okay.
How about a worldwide casting call?
There you go. That would almost have to.
Dee's got a thought here.
Go ahead, Dee.
what about, and this is just crazy, just popped into my head, Carrie Fisher has a sister named Jolie Fisher who looks...
Yes.
Yeah, but she's not nearly as competent of an actress as Carrie was.
No.
You need to be.
Yes, for a character that huge,
especially in that movie.
In the last Star Wars movie, she wasn't really on screen a lot.
But I thought they were going to have her on screen a lot.
Yeah, but in Episode 8, she's going to feature more, and it's building up to Episode 9, where she's going to basically be one of the main characters. So you need somebody who's going to have that presence.
The way they were setting it up was Harrison Ford got 7, Mark Hamill's getting 8, and Carrie Fisher was going to have 9.
Yeah.
But they can't do that anymore.
No, they can't.
Even though Disney owns the image of Carrie Fisher until the end of 9, they can't do that because they've said they're not going to do that.
Right. No, that's so there's not a CGI resurrection again. So, and we'll talk about what they did with Tarkin in Rogue One, which was equal parts creepy and cool at the same time. But
considering he's been dead for so long.
Yes, Peter Cushing's that gesture that he would always kind of lean on. But regardless of that,
Van Helsing.
Yes, and regardless of all of that, I mean, and this is going to be interesting to see how it unfolds. And we'll be here on this particular podcast, ready to make some sort of commentary or some sort of observation of it as it unfolds. We'll bring it to you, and I'll bring our thoughts to it. So we're gonna set this one aside because really, this is not a conversation that is ever going to end anytime soon. And it's kind of like this is kind of cool that we can talk about stuff like this. It's one of the pieces, and this is my really piss poor attempt at a segue. It leads me to the next topic I want to talk about. The topic I really wanted to talk about today, and that is what makes a modern day nerd or a modern day geek. And having discussions like this kind of fits into that particular conversation. So we're going to move the conversation that way. And Wayne, you had come up with a couple of articles when we were talking about this before.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to lean into you first, and then I'm going to come to the girls on the phone. So Deanna and Sybil start thinking about this. In your opinion, Wayne, what is it that really qualifies a person as a modern day nerd?
I don't know about modern day nerds. All I know is about us older nerds.
And that's why I'm coming to you first.
Well, I don't know, because fandom is kind of splintered now.
Mm-hmm.
You've got anime cons, you've got people who only watch anime, people who only watch gaming, people who only do lots of different things. Whereas when I came up, it's like everybody did everything. I would think, since you just have to be a fan, to be involved with whatever you're involved with.
Okay.
See, I think with nerddom, with anything, you can be nerdy about anything. Even sports. Sports nerds hate being called that, but they are.
Yes.
Fantasy football.
Yeah.
That's D&D.
I remember you taking DeTulio out to task on that one.
We still argue.
That's awesome.
That
was awesome, by the way.
We have more arguments off the air than we do on the air about stuff.
But yeah, if you call a sports fan a geek, they hate that. But they do it exactly the same thing.
So it's basically the same thing.
Sports fans are geeks of sports.
Yeah.
They're more likely to wear a football jersey than I am to even wear a Batman costume.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, and that's appropriate.
And when you see the guys in the football stands and the baseball stands all painted up like the team colors, that's okay. But you see a fan dressed as Luke or Leia or even Captain America, it's like, oh, he's just a geek.
Yeah, and what makes the difference? And and then there's funny how geeks are actually judging each other. Well, that person's not geeky enough. So I'll bring it over to
that's new.
Yeah, well. It's weird though. I mean, it's like, do you have to have a certain level of fandoms? Do you have to follow Supernatural and Star Wars and Star Trek and do you have to do all of that, or can you pick one?
I don't think so. Like I'm not into gaming, and you guys aren't into wrestling, and there's that's one thing I liked about cons, whether it's our FC3 con or the biggest one I've been to is Fan Expo in Toronto, or going bigger, San Diego. Is that everybody has their own thing they're really, really passionate about, and they have their own group. They find their own tribe and can sort of connect with each other to talk about stuff that they don't get to talk about with the normal people.
Yeah, Billy, I think you hit on a key word, and that's passion. Whatever fandom it is, if you don't have that passion for it, that you're going to that you're gonna. I want to make sure I do this every week, every 2 weeks, whatever. If you're just kind of following it on and off, I think that's where the difference lies. But I'd be interested. I know we want to get to the people on the phone, but I'd be interested in our interns' take on what.
Oh yeah, their turns are coming.
Becca, you're making a lot of faces back there.
I think she's kind of like, what do I do
because
now?
Let's be honest.
No, I'm sorry. I looked up the question of what does it mean to be a nerd?
Yeah.
And I found a WikiHow article.
Nice.
Don't believe everything you read on the internet.
Hang on to that because I'm going to have you start reading that because we have Dee on the phone. And I know that she's got to get going in a short order. She's got some stuff to do today. So, Dee, I'm going to bring this question to you. I'm going to let you get your input in before you take off on us today.
I think for me, I kind of straddle both. I have my nerd side and I have my sports side. For me, my geeky nerdness is gaming and Star Wars and sci-fi.
But she does sports too. She's like a Renaissance nerd.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
and
awesome.
I'm a huge sports fan. And I think it's like Brian said, it's passion. I am passionate about my Steelers, my Penguins, my Dale Jr., my Pirates. I'm also as passionate about Star Wars and Star Trek and all the nerd, the geeky things that people associate because it's not sports.
And she's come over to the dark side.
What?
We have cookies.
They have cookies. She started Doctor Who.
She's finally. Oh, I'm so happy to hear that.
Did you forget that she started last weekend?
I think I heard her make a mention of it, but it's so nice to have it officially out in the open where everybody can hear it that she's admitting to it now.
She started the new Doctor, or
no?
She started with Talons of Wayne Chang.
Oh yes,
that's still not old.
One of my favorite episodes.
It's not old. It's from '75. What the hell?
I'm talking.
What do you consider old?
Hartnell.
Oh, we got to break her into it. Got to break her into it.
Yeah, you got to start
She
with
was
the
devastated that it was a part 1 of 2.
Robot.
Sorry,
Dark in
Deanna.
Space.
There you go.
Classic.
And I think, like Brian said, it's about passion. It's about what you individually like and feel that you want to invest your time, your soul into. And that's okay. Not everybody's going to like anime. I don't get anime. I don't understand anime.
Just remember,
I'm not really
tentacles.
into comic
It's all
books.
good.
But I understand how, the draw that it has for people. And that's cool. That's what makes conventions cool, is that sometimes you can be like, hey, I didn't know anything about that, but I saw it at a convention, so now maybe I'll look into it and might find a new interest or hobby.
Like that's I mentioned this before. That's exactly how I started watching Doctor Who, the recent incarnation, starting with Christopher Eccleston. Was at a convention, saw people dressed as Weeping Angels, yeah, and thought those were really cool. Hey, let's look at Doctor Who.
There you go.
So it's kind of interesting how the term has evolved. I mean, all you had to do was like Doctor Who or play D&D back in our day when we were younger, and you were labeled a nerd. Now, being a nerd in that sense is cool.
Yeah, and I think you kind of touched on it just by the way you structured that. I think that's the way you structured the way you said it. I think
so.
Brian had said it. You were labeled a nerd, so there's a connotation of negative there that, okay, now you're not socially acceptable.
Well,
but now people aspire to kind of almost be nerdy at this point. So
it's become
there it is.
It's because it's become socially acceptable because of the success of the movies and the industry as a whole coming into the mainstream and attracting more people to it.
I want to point out that Tony just indicated that all of us here are socially acceptable.
He's fired.
Tony, are we really?
Wow.
Nowadays, you have to go deeper than the movies to be considered a nerd.
Okay. And we're good at that. We can definitely do that.
Can we ostracize people that only watch movies? Yeah!
Yay!
Yeah.
Wow.
All right, D, you taking off on us, son?
I can hang around for a little longer.
All right, good. Let us know. And now I'm going to go on to Sybil, and then I'm back into the room. So, I am looking right at you, Becca. I am looking right at you. You know it's coming. So anyway, Sybil, bring it to me now. Tell me about what you think about it.
Okay, what I think about it. So I grew up just before modern nerds, you could say. I kind of bridged the gap between the old geek Poindexters where, they always had the glasses with the tape in the middle. That's
we're losing you, honey.
Breaking up.
You're breaking up a little bit.
We've got the technology.
We do. Somebody boost the signal.
We can rebuild it.
Are you on speakerphone, Sybil?
We can make them
No,
better.
I'm not.
Okay, there you are.
That's much better.
We can hear you now. You probably just had to move to a different part of the room, right?
No, I just had to move my headphones.
Okay.
Wow. There was a collective acknowledgement.
Yes, like, oh my God, we're all on the same page.
Don't play with
Okay,
it.
well, what I was saying
Yes, thank you.
I bridged the old nerds of, I remember when I was little, I was made fun of for being nerdy and liking comic books and people looking at me like, how can you read those? Those are just weird.
Mm-hmm.
And now when I mention comic books, I get the jocks who are like, oh my God, did you see the Batman? I'm on this one and I'm reading this series, but I heard there's another series, and have you heard of that one? And it's kind of weird being like that, like growing up kind of trying to hide the nerdy and the geeky part of me. And then now, like, as soon as I say it, I get tons of friends again. Like, everybody's wanting to be like, talk to you and get your opinion on something. And it's not just, the comic books and the stereotypical nerd things. It's what you guys were also talking about with the sports and being a sports nerd or being a car nerd or being just a book nerd. Oh, you read that author? Well, let me talk to you about this author.
Or you read?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's actually becoming a thing now, too, isn't it?
You read?
I read every day.
So many guys, when I tell them I read, they go, oh, that's so adorable. I'm like, what?
Reading is not adorable.
Become adorable.
It's fundamental.
You need it.
Becca's trying to not fall off the chair in there. Just like, really?
Yeah, that's the comments I've been getting lately.
Yeah. No, and that's what makes you management, so it's all good.
Hey, Becca, what was on that WikiHow, by the way?
All right, so it starts out defining the geek and the nerd.
Oh,
right.
Yeah, because there's a difference.
Brian's got it up, too.
There is.
Well, let's be careful on that phrase.
Oh, shut up. Brian has the page up.
There we go.
There you go.
Good clarification.
Yeah, well.
All right, so the geek's someone who's just generally very knowledgeable to the point of obsession about a particular topic.
Chris and Doctor Who.
Right.
Okay.
And apparently, a nerd is an irritating, unattractive person who may be brilliant but chooses to focus on non-social pursuits.
Oh, I see.
Chris about Doctor Who.
Hey, easy. I am not non-attractive, thank you very much.
What does that mean?
In your own mind.
I am damn good looking.
What does that mean?
You have a face for radio.
Please define unattractive. Does that mean...
excuse me for saying this, but you fuck you.
Family programming.
Damn!
Are we going to have to bleep that out?
All right, guys, we just went from a PG to a PG-13.
There we go. If I drop one more F-bomb, we go to R, right?
Yes,
is that the
that's correct. That is correct.
That's how it works.
Dan's going to kill us.
He can't even catch up.
Exactly who?
It's okay. He may run marathons, but I have a car. I can drive fast away from him. It's okay. Good. My car can go 300 miles. He can only go 26. I can outdistance him. All right, so
just go 27 miles.
Aside from our little tangent over here, Becca, please feel free to continue with your presentation.
Talking about geeks and nerds. Sorry. We have to put you in your place every so often.
All right, so it compares communication skills.
Which Tanya and I apparently need work on.
For example, a nerd might say, that's an overused folly, the SD must be lazy. The geek would say of the same thing, oh, I love how Percy Jackson uses the Wilhelm scream in every movie.
Okay.
What kind of sentence is that?
I do love my Wilhelm screams.
Yeah!
That's not Percy Jackson. Okay, that aside.
All right, so there's somebody who's trying to do an academic thing. What's the difference between a geek and a nerd? Is that basically what it is? Have we gone so far into this that we have to define that?
I don't know. This is WikiHow.
That's Wiki, yeah.
From what I understood.
There are definitions
between
a geek, a nerd, and there's another term. But there is like definitions out there to show you the difference between them. Yeah, dweeb is another one.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to get anime specific, there's the weeaboo.
Oh yeah, there's
The
that
what?
Too. The weeaboo.
The weeaboo?
What about otakus? Are we talking about otakus?
True.
What in
Now
the
they've
ninth?
really gone.
All right, hang on a second. What in the 9 planes of hell is a weeaboo?
Someone
Honey,
who's
Not
Google
good.
here.
It's not a good.
It's
the-
2 uaboos.
It's 2 uaboos. It becomes a there's a single one is a uaboo. When they get together, they're a
Someone
weeaboo.
that's so obsessed with the Japanese culture and anime and that attempts to act as if they were Japanese, even though they're far from
Oh
it.
my god.
Oh yes,
Okay.
Yeah, that's basically it.
that's a basic weeaboo. Otakus are respectful of the culture, but recognize they are not necessarily part of the culture.
Are you sure they recognize they're not part of it?
Those are
Oh, God.
otakus.
Otakus.
There's a
thought those
difference.
were
The
like-
weeaboos
There
are the
are
bad guys.
I thought we were talking. Yeah, I thought you said taco at one point. I'm like,
Taco. Hold
Yeah,
on.
we love our
Taco
tacos.
Tuesday.
Our otakus.
Okay. Taco Tuesday.
Then
I'm hungry
all
now. I'm gonna stop
fandoms
by
have
Taco
their,
Bell
like,
later.
Go to Selena's.
layers
Open at
of
3.
how deep you are into that fandom.
Okay.
So
there's different degrees that you can plummet into this.
Are you an extended universe Star Wars fan or a not extended universe Star Wars
Oh my
fan?
god. Okay. Or there's just us who are like Star Wars fans. We like it. It's Star Wars. Okay, we like
I
it.
guess it comes down to
Well-
your perspective. We may not think of someone as a nerd or geek, but someone who isn't involved in anything that we enjoy would consider us all to be nerds or geeks just based on that.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, a different definition from the Urban Dictionary, because of course we're going to
course.
believe everything that they have to say.
Well,
That-
yeah.
If we can't believe CNN, who can you?
They say nerds are smart people who lack much of a social life. They would be
Okay.
the ones that spend.
Since when?
That's what their definition is of a nerd.
Geeks are the outgoing ones that go to that are
That have the social lives.
All right.
That's what they're different from nerds, that they actually have the social lives. It says nerds are often very shy, while geeks are more outgoing.
But then
So-
they're not smart.
Nerds spend most of their free time studying, while geeks make free time so they can play Dungeons and Dragons.
So
I'm a geek!
Yay! So we would be geeks because we're outgoing. So somebody like Dan, our fearless leader, or Stephanie Oswald, we love dearly. They're more reserved. They're shyer. So they're less likely to be out in the open.
I am living proof that a nerd can become a geek.
Okay, yes, because you and I were both
Isn't
wallflowers.
that kind of like the heel
in the day.
and face,
Heel and face.
thing from wrestling?
we're swinging around.
Did
We're
I
swinging
pull
around.
in a
would
good
say
analogy?
Yes, you did.
Yes. Yeah, oh, sorry.
So how many people in this room would believe that when
5
Brian and I
points
first met,
for
we were both
Gryffindor.
wallflowers?
Well,
I
I
was
have to
definitely a
recuse
wallflower.
myself
I
on
can
that
see
one.
I
that.
can
Yeah.
see that.
Honestly, I
See,
could.
you
That's
as a
also-
wallflower, Chris. Not at all.
Yeah.
It's also depending on when you be. Nowadays,
When you
it's more
became into your
acceptable
geekdom.
to be a fan
Uh-huh.
than back when I was a kid. It wasn't acceptable to be a fan.
Which is kind of part of the reason we were wallflowers about those things, because it wasn't.
It wasn't acceptable. You always
If you
mentioned
go out
we're
and say-
Doctor Who fans, we'd
Yeah.
get ridiculed.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I didn't know it wasn't acceptable. I just was. I
Well, yeah,
went to the
And that's
stuff-
great.
Yeah.
I
That's
read
great.
comics all the time, but I also kind of knew it wasn't part of the mainstream culture to be a comic book fan.
Mm-hmm.
What did Bill Gates say? Be careful who you bully, because they're going to eventually be your boss.
Boston,
Yes.
He said something along those lines.
But then what you're saying is that geeks wouldn't be your boss, but a nerd would.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Well, it's funny. I'm looking at these like geek traits versus nerd traits, and it's hysterical. I was pointing out one to Chris. It says geeks can be pretentious and long-winded. Do we know anyone like that? I don't know.
Hi, guys.
Yeah, I wonder.
Why is everybody looking at me? Stop that.
But then they say, like, nerd traits, their interests might include Battlestar Galactica,
Both versions?
LARPing, Second Life, physics, chess, fantasy, sci-fi, and computer programming.
Okay. Well, that's
Oh,
a little
look,
bit
it's
of...
me.
Oh, look.
So you're a nerd.
There you go,
also-
Okay,
Rebecca.
that's good.
I like all that.
You might be
I
a
started
neek.
out reading science
neek?
fiction.
A neek.
A neek.
And then...
A GERD? Wait, that's something totally different.
Reading science fiction and comics got me into more and more science, which got me into engineering.
Okay.
So it's,
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, there are
Fair.
people-
I mean, that's generally how I got into computer engineering.
yeah.
So
Well, there are people... I mean, James Doohan, before he passed away, was doing interviews, and he was saying that people had come up to him at conventions saying, I wanted to become an engineer because of Scotty.
Yes.
So it's that transition.
Yeah. Star Trek did that for lots of people.
Billy, what do you think? Any final thoughts before we start wrapping this one up?
I got nothing.
You got nothing?
I'm still trying to figure out if I'm a nerd or a geek. I'm
Well,
a
let's
shyer.
see.
Agreed.
Do you drink coffee or soda?
Soda.
Okay.
All right, so that
Do you wear loafers or sneakers?
Sneakers.
Saxophone or guitar?
I like saxophone.
All right, well, in case it's 2 or 1.
Well, I know
going.
the next one. Dress shirt or T-shirt.
Hundreds of T-shirts.
Now, cat or dog?
Cat.
Dog.
All right, so he's 3 votes to geek, 2 votes to nerd.
He's a neat.
So he's a geek. He's right in the middle.
I think Billy is an otaku.
And if I had a bell, I'd be a Taco Bell.
There, Taco Bell.
No, and
I fully believe that people can be a nerd and a geek
Right.
and
Yeah.
a dork. It all just depends on, like, I'm a nerd with certain aspects of my life, and I'm a geek when it comes to, like, cars and books and that kind of stuff. And then I'm a dork because I'm just, fun-loving and goofy.
Oh, yeah.
I
You're
think-
definitely that,
I
sweetie.
Thank you. So I think you can honestly, like, be all of them, and being a modern-day nerd, modern-day geek, whatever, we need to, as modern-day nerds and geeks, just have our arms open for everybody and every aspect of everybody in the society. Like, so what if somebody says they're a diehard Supernatural fan, but they don't know what happened in episode 5 of season 2? They can still be
Somebody
a
died.
diehard fan.
Don't they usually?
Probably. They can still be a
Spoiler alert,
diehard fan
somebody
of
dies.
something and not know every single aspect of
Right.
it.
Yeah.
Right.
So we can
need to
go ahead.
we need to stop taking it used to be the jocks that would make fun of the nerds, and now it's the nerds who make fun of other nerds because they're not as nerdy as they are.
Yeah.
Oh, the
Right.
geek,
And it's-
like the geek girl cred.
Yeah.
Oh,
like,
right,
we
right,
need
right.
to kind of stop doing that.
I think
We need to
labels in
accept
general
everybody.
are used to divide people, and
It is.
And
Here comes our Hallmark after school special moment. Bring it home, Tony. Bring it home, Tony.
labels divide people.
There you
in order
go.
to in order to be a more harmonious society, we need to get rid of labels. And that is my
Good
2
luck with
cents.
that.
Goodbye, guys.
No, seriously,
luck with that.
we can close
He's
on
right.
that. We can seriously close on that because it really doesn't completely matter what it is, as long as you're loving it, and as long as you can accept that other people are going to be different. That's all. Yeah. That's it. So we're all going to
all
look
in
at it
this
differently.
together.
We're all in it together, and we are where it all comes together. So
Yes, we
anyway,
are.
so there we go. So yeah, let's wrap that one up, and just we're gonna circle all the way back to the beginning of the conversation real quick because Tanya had found something while we were talking about nerd versus geek. But she found an article about the Carrie Fisher issue, and there's a lot of people out there who are thinking, well, if like I do, if you recast, who would it be? And this name popped up, Stevie Nicks.
Oh, that's
Did I hear that?
Deanna.
That was
That's
Deanna. Yeah.
I can tell you that she's
Think-
got the look.
But
Oh,
then you got it.
she
Mick,
does.
Mick can show up too. You can have the rest of the Fleetwood Mac show up.
We could have the whole Fleetwood Mac show up as like some smugglers or whatnot, but no, or you could do Mick Fleetwood could be like Chewbacca's little
Cantina
brother.
Band.
Yeah,
He's hairy
Cantina
enough.
The
Band.
Cantina
The
Band.
Cantina
Yes.
Band. But seriously, Stevie Nicks, the voice, the look,
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
there's-
height.
yeah.
Yeah, as long as she's about
Is-
5'1".
If she's got it, she's tiny.
Well, yeah,
she
because
is
she
tiny.
wears the huge heeled boots.
And and think Lindsey Buckingham as Han Solo's twin long lost brother. Anyway, so let's go ahead and wrap this puppy up. Tiny has got the IQ, Billy. So
I
whenever
do.
you're ready, brother.
This has been Money. Bleh. Wow.
Take
This
two.
has been Take Two. This
can't
has been
read
Monkey
my
Business.
handwriting.
No, I can't. A production of the Mighty Monkey, producers of the Flower City Comic Con. FC3's next show will be May 20th and 21st of 2017 at the Rochester Riverside Convention Center. Join us on Facebook at facebook.com/FC3ROC. I'm still back to where you told me to fuck you. I'm still back at that point.
There we go.
became
I left
hard.
that in there.
Awesome.
Oh, we officially are now.